Hello everyone, I'm so glad to be here with all of you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jimena Calderontoño. I'm an English teacher at Centro Colombo Americano here in Medellin, Colombia. Allow me to ask you this question. Do you think that sometimes our expressions and body language can express our emotions better than words? If your answer is yes, this is the lecture for you. Let me tell you this. Something very important in our daily life is nonverbal and verbal communication because they both go hand in hand. Let me ask you one more question. Do you remember what is the meaning of nonverbal communication? Think about it for a second. Nonverbal communication is the process of communication through sending and receiving wordless, mostly visual clues between people. This concept is sometimes mistakenly referred to as body language, kinesics, but nonverbal communication encompasses much more, such as the use of touch, haptic, and distance, proxemics. Nonverbal communication includes those important but unspoken signals that individuals exhibit all the time. In this video, I am going to talk about one of the three main aspects of proxemics. One of the three main aspects of nonverbal communication, which is proxemics. And when you finish watching this video, you will be able to tell me what is the role of culture in proxemics and what are the four zones of personal space, or sometimes called personal space bubble. Let me draw your attention to the first aspect that I want to highlight, which is the role of culture in proxemics. First, take a look at this picture. In this picture, I am with one of my best friends who is from Philippines, but she grew up in California, USA. When Jess first arrived to Colombia, she had the chance to prove by herself how the use of space varies between cultures. I remember when she told me she was feeling a bit uncomfortable when other colleagues, most of them male, were talking so close to her, or even worse, kissing her in the morning to say hello and in the afternoon to say goodbye. This kind of situation is more common than you may think, and it can be explained by sharing the findings of a research carried out by Arizona State University, which states that Latinos, be they Costa Rican or Colombian, from South America or Central America, interact at a close distance and frequently touch one another during encounters. Also, in a classic study of proxemics, the way individuals handle microspace, Edward Hall, who was an American anthropologist and a cross-cultural researcher, argued that since Latinos are raised in a contact culture, they interact at a much closer distance than do North Americans. Second, we can also explain that situation with another powerful statement by Hall, which clearly sets out when two people grew up in different cultures, living different sensory worlds. What is more, they are generally unaware of the degree to which the words may differ. Therefore, when two people of different cultures interact, it uses different criteria to interpret the other's behavior, and each may easily misinterpret the relationship, the activity, or the emotions involved. As you can see, culture plays a large role in molding our nonverbal communication as well as behavior. And as I said before, the use of space varies between cultures. And to conclude the first part, I can mention, we all have our own individual preferences about space. Now that you know a little bit more about the role of culture in proxemics, let's move on to the next section, which is the four zones of personal space or personal space bubble. And once we finish with these important aspects of proxemics, we will be dealing with the final section of this video. Now, I want you to take a look at this figure. In this figure, we can find the four different levels of interpersonal space used depending on the social relationship type specified by Hall. We can start with intimate space, which is reserved for only the closest friends, family members, and romantic intimate partners. We need regular human contact that isn't just verbal, but also physical. Being close to someone and feeling their physical presence can be very comforting when words fail. Let's continue with personal space. Personal and intimate zones refer to the space that starts at our physical body and extends our feet. These zones are reserved for family members, close friends, and significant others. Much of our communication occurs in this personal zone, which is what we typically think of as our personal space bubble. Even though we are getting closer to the physical body of another person, we may use verbal communication at this point to signal that our presence in this zone is friendly and intimate. Now we have social space, communication that occurs in the social zone, which is 4 to 12 feet away from our body, is typically in the context of a professional or casual interaction, but not intimate or public. This distance is preferred in many professional settings because it reduces the suspicion of any impropriety. The expression kept someone at an arm's length means that someone is kept out of the personal space and kept in the social professional space. And finally, we have public space. Public zones refer to the space 4 or more feet away from our body, and the communication that typically occurs in these zones is formal and not intimate. This is the least of the 4 zones and will typically be used when a person is engaging in a formal speech and with strangers you want to maintain your distance from. Now, let's move on to the final section. To conclude, whereas people of all cultures seem to make these distinctions, they differ in the spaces they attribute to them. For example, Arab males tend to sit closer to each other than American males. Arabs, at least in the past, learned to interact with others at distances close enough to feel the other person's breath. For instance, Italians interact more closely than either Germans or Americans, and we, Colombians, interact at closer distances than Costa Ricans. Thanks for watching. See you soon.